Game Radio, it's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. We are 7 days away, or less than 7 days away from Super Bowl. Lots to talk about, a lot of NBA news, got a lot of coaches going a lot of different ways. And another thing is horse racing season is in full bloom. It's going to be, we're coming into that. Not a couple weeks, but maybe 6, 7 weeks. We're going to be in the NBA playoffs. We got March Madness coming up. Got the end of the hockey season. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, but of course, football is definitely a mainstay. In baseball, you got a lot of games. They're predicting that $1.6 billion will be bet on Sunday on the Super Bowl, which is probably
absolutely nuts.
Yes, pretty impressive. We know there's a lot of pools. There's a lot of office pools. There's a lot of squares going to be played. I know a couple spots in town. $2 spots, $5, $10, $100 spots, which basically comes out to $10,000 a quarter, which is a pretty big deal. So, yeah, but we're going to jump into it. What we got going on with the basketball news, and I can't. The other thing is I can't believe that Milwaukee is going to trade Giannis. That's their out instead of getting him some help. Or I don't understand.
I don't. I'm with you on that, Tony. I don't get it either because it's like, he brought you a championship. He brought you a championship,
made you relevant again. You weren't relevant for many, many years. Kind of like Golden State. Golden State was irrelevant. Nobody ever really talked about it. It just wasn't. And then they start winning championships. They build this dynasty. Steph Curry, just everything, and the team's relevant. And you would think as a organization, you would want to stay relevant. But the thing we always talking about sports, is there some owners that are committed to winning a championship, and there's some owners that are going to just put good enough on there, like the Florida Marlins. They've won a championship, and then next year they literally they took apart the whole team.
It's just good at the team.
Gutted the team. And then you look at, and I'll give you another one. When you look at every time you watch baseball this year and you see the LA Dodgers walk out on that field, you're seeing nothing but hundreds of millions of dollars per game. You know what I mean?
Per game.
Per game. And you got other teams
fully guaranteed.
They're not even close. Yeah, they're not even close with the they're not half, they're a quarter. They have a team a quarter of what they put on there. Now, do I think LA on paper, man, LA has an opportunity to build another dynasty. I mean, really to win 3-4 more World Series unless someone else puts together there's some other good teams, don't get me wrong, in baseball besides them, but I mean on paper, looking at them, their batting is equivalent to the murderer's row of the Yankees 100 years ago. You know what I mean? That was So I don't know. I mean, you look at it, you don't know how committed, and then you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, and if he's not there, to me, the Milwaukee Bucks, unless they find some other talent or something that they're going to put together, I mean, they're going to fade off into the sunset, not being relevant. You know what I mean?
Right. They're going to fade. They're going to fade right down. They're going to fade back past that 6, 7, 8 seed, 7, 8 seed type, if that, depending on what they get out of the trade. I guess they're trying to avoid another Dwight Howard situation where things got really bad when they, I felt like they was trying to make a statement by not moving him when he was ready. And when they did that, I think it kind of hurt him a little bit because that thing got real messy. And it didn't have to be. They could have just let him go on by his way, get all the draft capital and everything that you can and rebuild. But the thing about this Giannis thing is I see that, and of course the media, they will portray where they think he's going. There's a lot of buzz about Golden State.
Yeah,
Now,
there is. There is.
right, me personally, I don't think that's a good fit with in the West because the West is so stacked. Because he would have to deal with the Jokic. And not only that, you got
Right.
that man, you got both OKC and Houston. So and then you can't rule out the Lakers. And then you got Dallas coming back. If they retain AD, I kind of want to see what it looks like with AD and Kyrie and Cooper to see how that works. But I don't think
Yeah.
AD is going to be there. But it's just I would like for him to stay in the East, or New York or Miami. If they could pull that out, they'd probably do a cat trade or something like that. You know, but I would like to see him. I don't think Miami has the
Right.
resources, or they're going to budge. I don't think Miami's going to budge. They'll probably give up one. It'll probably be Hero. I don't think Bam's going anywhere. So it'd be hard to get him in Miami. They would have to lose too much. And I think the way uh, Pat Riley is set up down there, he's a guy that really doesn't bulge. You're going to have to fall into, what's going on there. I would like for him to
Right.
stay in the East. I would like for him to stay in the East, and that way, he could be dominant, and he could probably get his chip that way. Because if he goes to the West, it's going to be very difficult. And then he still has San
My thing.
Antonio to deal with, so it'll
Yeah.
be difficult if he went to the West.
I was. What's the I think that's the other thing. He wants to go. You want to trade him, and then somebody has to somebody has to give up so much.
Yeah, they're going
Uh,
to have to bring a third party team in to make the trade work because they're going to, I know that the Bucks are going to want some stuff. They're going to want to be
uh-huh.
relevant if they get rid of them. So they're going to have to somehow include some more teams in to try to build up enough assets to get him traded over there. But I would like for him to
So
stay in the East, though.
when the Trey Young deal went through, all right, and Atlanta got rid of him, he's injured. He'll be back.
Hmm.
At first glance, I was just like, golly, the Wizards. And then
Yeah,
when you start looking at the Wizards, okay, they're kind of this is what they're saying. It's like a strategic rebuild. They have a center called Alex Starr, who's a stud. Okay, and
right.
they're planning bringing in Trey Young. It's a very young crew down there. Don't be surprised if next season you see them in the hunt. Not saying for a title, and the reason being is at the rate they're going, they have a good shot of getting the number one draft choice. So you get if they get the number
Yeah.
one draft choice, and I know because they're on that path to the number one,
Hmm.
you get that, and then you have Alex Starr, and you got Trey Young, and they got some other young players. They could be a force, you know what I mean, and a cheap force too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I
So
know
it,
Trey Young wasn't
yeah,
cheap,
yeah. So it could turn into like a Detroit thing. How the
and,
Pistons rebuilt through the draft, and yeah, and
right,
they just had some
right, right.
some some key players with high basketball IQ and some tenacity in them, and you can
Yeah, I
see
mean,
where it's coming together now. So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
could I
yeah.
could
Oh,
definitely see
absolutely.
that.
Detroit. Yeah, Detroit's the real deal. They're the real deal, and they did it a lot of it in house, which is cool. Well, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess at the end of the day, the organization is a business, so you're
yeah,
trying to make as much money as possible. So I get that, and why not try to develop your own players? I mean, it's the
right.
cheaper way to go, way to
Yeah,
lock them in longer. You get more, you get 5, 6 years out of, I mean, instead of just, I mean, you could easily go, all you got to do is just pick up Giannis, get Durant. I mean, you could buy all these players, but what do we learn in Brooklyn? It doesn't
right.
always, it don't lead
Doesn't
into
work.
championships. Yeah,
Right. You
because
just got a bunch of
yeah,
stars, you know, bunch of stars on
they
your
don't
team,
gel.
don't jail, entitled. did the work. So, they feel a certain superiority to, everybody else. And we saw in Brooklyn, like you said, that didn't work.
No, it
But
was a
if you
failure. I
had
mean,
one, yeah, but like how the Wizards are doing, you have that one superstar, that's Ja, and now you build through the draft, you get you a couple of key high basketball IQ role players, that knows the game, plays the games well, but know the role, they'll know their roles. They won't, in other words, role players that don't necessarily have to have the ball. You get that's what Ja's for. You get
yeah,
him the ball,
yeah.
he
That's. I mean,
creates,
that's
and then you build around him as far as like defensive minded offense. You build your specialty pieces around Ja. You let Ja be the flash, and you have your specialty pieces that can make everything work. And like you say, it could be a good thing up there if they're smart about drafting and they do their homework on key role players that don't cost as much. It could be a go. I mean, both, well, really all three, Houston, OKC, and San
right.
Antonio has done that, and it's looked like it's working.
Yep.
So if they could
Yeah.
develop that same blueprint, that could be something. It just all depends on
Absolutely.
what Giannis want to do. Where
Yeah.
I think he wants New York, but I don't think, and I know New York wants they want Giannis, but it's just what do they have? They're gonna have to clean house. They're gonna have to give two or three great players to substitute for him, especially
And
if he's
that's
staying
not.
in the
And
conference.
yeah, because at the end of the day, right now, New York's in second place behind Detroit. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, does Giannis? I mean, if you add Giannis right now without losing anything, I see the impact. But if you got to give up what I think they got to give up for it, I don't. You just swap some players around. I don't think
Yeah.
last year. I don't know. Last year when we watched them, they kind of they just were a little bit outmatched. Their shooting went down.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuff that happens. There wasn't anything to go. Well, if we would have had, yeah, and that's what I'm saying about the Wizards is, like I said, they got young players. They're probably going to get a
Yep.
real nice draft choice
Mm-hmm.
because they're having a terrible season. I don't know when Trey Young's coming back, but if Trey Young's only job is to shoot, he is one of the top shooters in the league. There's no doubt about that. The man could score
Mm-hmm.
threes. They got this. They got an unbelievable real center. So imagine him doing what he needs to do, and he got Trey Young and a bunch of other young stars on the outside, just 3-pointing it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like
Yeah.
OKC. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Kind of like
Yeah.
OKC.
Yeah.
They got real big men. Like you always say, they got real big men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you get real big men because you can't, like what was it? What was it last? What was that? Was the one of the things about that you were saying about L.A. They really don't have a real big man.
Mm-hmm.
Not
And
a I mean,
right. And
yeah,
even
because
now, I mean, I was not this DeAndre Ayton thing. I saw this coming. I was not happy with that. But I knew we needed some bigs. But
yeah, definitely,
I don't know where this guy went. Because the Andre Ayton that we saw in
yeah.
those
I
in
don't,
those
yeah,
finals, where did that guy go? I don't understand it. But
yeah,
so we
because
have both
okay,
him
see,
and Marcus Smart,
right,
and the Lakers can't play any defense. I don't understand that. Now I understand Luca doesn't, and LeBron is LeBron. He's
yeah,
Uncle LeBron now. You know what I'm saying? He's Uncle Bron
yeah,
now. Uh, but I don't get that. You got two bigs, but you also have one guy that doesn't play, and your other shooter that's uh probably C minus when it comes to defense, C minus D. And
right,
Austin Reeves. So you got two guys that can't play defense. So you got to make up for that.
right,
And And the best thing they could do was Andre Ayton and Marcus Smart, which to me, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't understand it. To have to have those talents and skills and IQ, and you just can't put it together, to be successful on the court when you're a big dude. But everybody wants to be Steph now. Everybody wants to shoot a 3-pointer, and
Yeah,
it's
but
not for everybody to shoot the three.
it's not. It's definitely not for everybody. You're 100%. But we watched Oklahoma City last year dominate, and they
Yeah.
got three real big. They got three or four real bigs. You know what I'm saying? And they could go big on you, and they could still score points. And they got an unbelievable shooting crew to go along with the bigs, and they play well together. I mean, they're bad to the bone. They're a bad to the bone team. I mean, they're, and what's funny is their record's 39-11,
Mhm.
best in the NBA, and right behind them is Detroit Pistons, 36-12.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing. But like I said, we talked about it last year. He said, man, this Detroit team looks legit. I mean, like I know they didn't do well last year, but I mean they did well, but comparatively speaking, they were down in the but they're number one right
Right.
now. And they got a
We
five game
saw
they got a
yeah,
yeah,
we
five
saw
game
the
lead over the
potential.
Knicks. Yeah, solid potential. You got, that's like if you're talking about we're throwing some gambling in there too, but like with LA, depending who LA's playing, the over is always a good bet with LA because they're
Hmm.
not going to stop much, but they're going to put up a lot of points. Depending what it is, who they're playing, 220, 219. If you can get one of them, because they'll pile on some points. They will pile on some points, and they're going to
Hmm.
give up a bunch of points. They're going to give
Oh
up a
yeah.
bunch of. They're going to give up a bunch of three. Um, play Green, if they play Green, I mean, always look at his rebounds because he's going to get them. Because LA really,
Hmm.
I mean, it's because you watch the game now sometimes, and there's people that really, unless the ball goes right to them, there's nobody really fighting for the ball. Very few people are
No.
fighting for the ball. It's like, oh, I got it, and I'll pass it. I get that part.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of and like I said, we still got more than half the season left. Well, actually, we got a little less than half the season, so there's a lot left. So it'll be interesting to see where everybody fits in the next by the beginning of March.
Hmm.
I think you'll be. What I mean, I think we'll be. And what's so crazy is where Milwaukee is right now. They're probably not even they even if the rate they're going, they wouldn't even make the playoffs.
No.
They're a bottom tier of the
Yeah.
They're the bottom tier of the Eastern Conference. They're down there with Indian Pacers, Washington, and the Brooklyn. They've only won 13 games, and Milwaukee's won 18 games. They're 17 games out of first place. Um, so yeah, it's just kind of that deal. And like you said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with everybody healthy in Dallas. Um, or if they make a move, or if they do get rid of AD. I just don't know if you can get a lot for AD because he's so injury prone. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. When he's healthy,
Oh,
he's a problem, but he's only healthy for a short amount of time. And
I want,
time
I
and
want,
time again, we've seen that to be true.
I wonder when. We need to look that up. I wonder when the last time he played a complete season because he ain't
It
played a
had to
complete
be when
season.
he was with the Pelicans when he had Boogie Cousins with him.
Ooh, that's a long time ago.
That's a long time ago, like right before he got traded. That's a long time ago. Because when he got traded to the Lakers, when he played the pandemic season,
That was
I
50
think.
games. Yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And then you had Boogie. Now you didn't have Boogie, you had what's the other guy? McGee.
right.
Yeah.
That
So
may have
you
been the
had
last
McGee.
season that he played a full season was the pandemic because it was a short
Yep.
short
It
season.
was a short season.
And they
Hmm.
played in the whatever they were doing in the or in the
Yeah, and
that was kind of a smart move. They
Epic
put
Dome.
everybody together. Yeah, they put everyone
Yeah.
together, um, and made it work. You know what I'm saying? And the
Hmm.
season was only 50 games, but uh, people watched and it was good.
Yeah.
Remember, because there was nobody in the stands.
Yeah, nobody in the stands, so they had to like pump crowd noise in and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
but so yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm thinking. I mean, yes, he's a game changer when healthy, but he has been
Hmm.
riddled. You know, I mean, he's just been unlucky with injuries.
Yeah.
Because last year when he came back for the Mavs, they got, you know what I mean, they were, I was like, oh, okay, he's back. He's and they
Hmm.
were making some moves, but it just was short lived and it was too little, too late. But definitely the difference um, was there, and the Mavericks got their new young star. Um, it would be interesting to see what would the Mavericks be like if they didn't make the trade with the new
Yeah.
young star. I don't,
Yeah.
it's hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe it doesn't work out
With
and then they
Kyrie
don't
Cooper
get,
and
yeah,
Luca. Yeah.
it's kind of one of those deals. But we're just gonna have to wait and
Yeah, we'll
see
have to wait and see. Wait
who's
and see what happens. See
got
if
it going
Kyrie
on.
does come back.
Yeah, well, and that's a very that's there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Because he's pretty much playing for the love now too.
He's um I was kind I know he's always been a little different, but I always kind of liked him. He just
Yeah.
yeah, he always
Yeah, he
he's just
just
a little
have a different, yeah, a little different. He
way.
has different
Yeah,
perspective, different out. You know who he's like? Arian Foster that played for
yeah,
Houston. He's kind of like
yeah.
that. Very, very intelligent dude. Very, very, very well-rounded and intelligent dude, but sometimes, it doesn't click.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When it comes to being social with other people or,
Yeah.
dealing with different personalities on your team, sometimes it doesn't gel because of, there's certain beliefs that you have or there's a certain way that you live, but it doesn't, it doesn't bond well with the
And
other guys.
kind of like Kawhi when he left Toronto.
Yeah,
They
aloof a
won a
little
champ.
bit.
Yeah, went he won. They won a championship, and that was it. He was gone.
Yeah,
I mean, he left. I mean, it was just to me, it was like one of the strangest things. It's like, okay, yeah, okay. I mean, you guys just won a championship. I would have thought maybe, but no, that
yeah. You
wasn't
stick
how he.
around, get another one, try to make a dynasty there. Nope, I'm good. I'm going to LA.
Yeah, and it just what I mean. And my hats off to him because he lives the way he wants to live, and there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes we look at it and go, man, that was a crazy. But maybe for him, that was the move. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because if he didn't go to Toronto, Toronto wasn't getting a championship. I mean, they've had
No,
some good teams. I can't take it away from them. They have
yeah,
had some good
they've had some
teams.
good teams up there, but they
And it
had, but they
just
couldn't get over the hump. And with him going up there, the team that they had in place and adding him put them over the hump to get that championship.
because man, he's another phenomenal player. He's got his
Yes,
quirks. You know, what I mean,
yeah, he's quiet, but
managed
he's
very
assassin,
quiet,
quiet
very quiet.
assassin.
Yeah, yeah. He does it all on the floor. Not much to say after that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he definitely is. Definitely just dances to a different drummer, and that's great.
yeah, true score. Just like there's always the Jordan Kobe comparisons. Kawhi has a
Yeah,
similar game to Jordan too, as far as like finding multiple ways of scoring the basketball.
yeah,
I mean, he doesn't have the high flying and the acrobatics, but the game knowledge and the way in his ability to develop a shot or to score, any kind of way, it's kind of like how Jordan was when he stopped flying so much and he
yeah.
started hitting more jumpers and spreading the floor out and I see, you know, he has the scoring capabilities like Jordan.
Right,
I'll say
right,
that
right,
scoring, as opposed to like the high flying and the acrobatics.
right,
No
right.
one can mimic that. But as far as like the scoring mentality, he has that of Jordan. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is I hate when we compare. I hate when they compare
Yeah.
when they go, "Oh, what would happen if Floyd would have fought?" And then and the thing is
No.
Lawrence Taylor said it the best when they asked who the goal was. We had this conversation. He said God, San Francisco's Joe Montana was the goat. And the guy was
Mhm.
like, "Well, I don't, he goes, he was a GOAT because he won 4 Super Bowls in the mad time, in the violent time, the time when I came and I tried to break his neck off and he got back up and threw a touchdown." He goes, "That's what." And so when you speak on stuff, you have to say, I don't even know if Lawrence Taylor can play in the league now. He might
No,
get kicked out after game one. I don't. I have no idea. I have.
absolutely,
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
absolutely.
Yeah, not that
And
he
you
couldn't
cover,
play physically. No, no, he'd be fine. I would put him up.
yeah,
I don't know
like
if he'd make it
yeah.
through a game. You
No, he
can't throw the
wouldn't
quarterback like
because
that. Yeah.
him and neither of those safeties because
Oh, yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah,
across
yeah.
that
No.
middle was fair game. I mean, you could destroy people.
Yeah. They can't, what I mean? So it's like, so what game are you talking about? That game, this game, and you know what I'm saying? It's just different. Rules
Right.
are different. More rules are there to protect players now. They weren't there back then. So that's a huge. I mean, it's a lot. It's just a lot. And so I think everybody's great in their own way.
Yeah.
LeBron's great
And
for LeBron.
yeah,
Jordan was great for what I mean. They're
for
just
Jordan, yeah.
different. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, everybody.
everybody, yeah, everybody could really uh solve all of their arguments by saying 3 words: in their era.
In their
Why not
era.
just
And
let them be dominant in their era as opposed of this person is better than this person because of
right.
stats? How
Right.
about
Right.
we
No,
just
there's
let them be dominant in that era of basketball? It's okay to have a GOAT Wilt Chamberlain, GOAT Michael Jordan, GOAT Julius
sure,
Erving,
sure.
GOAT Michael Jordan, Bird, and Magic
All of them.
in their eras. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
all of these guys, let them be the GOAT in their era. And that will just solve all of this stupidity about being
yeah.
back and forth about this
Who's
guy's
better?
better than
Who's the
this
big?
guy, and
Yeah,
they both
yeah,
play in two totally different leagues.
yeah. Totally,
So
totally.
we
Hey,
just
man,
leave it at the era.
we're about to run out of time. We'll be back talking about the Super Bowl. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book every Tuesday night on the biggest station in the land, AM Radio. Where we go, ham. Boom.
Hell.
All right. AM Radio, it's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book Tuesday night. Everyone tuning in. Well, I want to thank everyone. Super Bowl week, man. Lots of talk. What we got going on with the coaching? Who's moved where, and what do we
All right,
got?
let me get this. Let me get this going. NFL. We've had a lot of coaches move around. There has been some talk about like we do this time every year. We talk about the Rooney Rule, and there's now there is a now they're saying that there were no African American coaches hired or interviewed, during this round of, coaching
Coaching.
carousels. And it looked like a slap in the face because of the fact that Philip Rivers got interviewed. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah,
The
yeah, we
fact
were.
that he got interviewed for a job and you have, capable coaches here. Now, when it comes to that, I'm well, really, my personal opinion really doesn't matter. But speaking as a sports journalist, um, these owners have that's their money. They have the right to do with what they want to do and pick who they want to pick for their team. You know, um, now, now, yes, I'm for African American coaches should get looked at and should get hired. And we've had some very successful ones, and we do. The fact that Raheem Morris is going over to San Francisco as the DC. Robert Saleh
Right.
has a head coaching job in Tennessee. Um, would I like to see more? Yes, but at the same time, I understand how it works. You could force a hand to do. I feel like you shouldn't make. I feel like we shouldn't have to make people accept it. We
I go
shouldn't
with
have to
John.
force it. We
This is
shouldn't have to
this is
force it, but at the same time, I do. There has to be some recognition, but I feel like we shouldn't force the hand to do it because they're only doing it because they have to,
right.
so to speak. So if this is an institution, where we're lucky to be a part of, and I know there's going to be some kickback on this, but this is just my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with sportsbook or K-Ham radio. I just feel like I just feel like if we shouldn't have to force it, because you can't make someone that owns something do anything with what they own. You
So
can
let me ask you
implement
that.
rules to make it right, but
Right.
at the same time, at the end of the day, they're gonna
Do
hire who they want to hire.
so a lot of people. So and you're right because we're not in all the shoes, but a lot of people. I heard people say, well, they didn't they didn't even interview Pittsburgh. Um, uh,
Mike Tomlin.
uh, all right. So I heard someone say that, and
Right.
I said, you do know he comes with stipulations, right? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, he'll get talked to. He's going to be off for a year because he's under contract. And in
Yeah.
order for you to get him, you got to buy out or give them players. And so there's a catch. And he's a great coach. There's no doubt. But as soon as he's off contract, if he wants to coach, Lou, he's coaching. I promise you.
Yeah.
If he wants to coach, I don't know because I look at those coaches and you just have to go, golly, that's a life absorbing job. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that is family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I could see someone
All that. Good.
getting burnt out. Yeah, getting burnt. And I'll say this too. I think everyone should get a fair shot if you are qualified.
Hmm.
But I will say this: besides him and Harbaugh, okay, after
Hmm.
you take those two out of the loop, who there wasn't a lot of top. I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
we could say, well, he would have been. We're talking about taking coordinators and making them head coaches. Okay,
Right.
so I that doesn't always work. It doesn't always. In fact, it has a failure rate much higher than people want to admit. Look at Sal. I mean, Salas. He. I mean, I didn't really care for him at the Jets. He had this air about him, like he had
No.
already won a Super Bowl, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, dude, you haven't won a Super Bowl yet. I mean, you guys are moving in the right direction, and I think he's a heck of a defensive coach. Do I think he's going to turn around Tennessee? I have my doubts. Do I think the Bills coordinator? I mean, that's a big difference to me to go from offensive coordinator to
Hmm.
being the head coach. That's just
Yes.
my opinion. But no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, you just want, I mean, the league is the league. Um, it's a very elite group of people. There's many coaches that never ever get a chance. There's probably coaches that we've never heard of somewhere that
Hmm.
probably people said, man, that guy should be in the league. and he'll never get the chance. There's a lot
No.
of politics. There's a lot of favors, and that's the way. And that I mean, does it make it right? No, but that's the way. That's the way big business moves, and that's big business.
Yeah.
NFL
Yeah.
is about as big as they get. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I agree with everything they do? Absolutely not. Do I agree with all the? I didn't agree when they banned Sean Payton for a year. To me, I took that as like you are trying to destroy a franchise. To me, I think you
Mm-hmm.
could have fined him and suspended him
Mm-hmm.
for a game or two, but to
Yeah.
try because really, to me, at that point, is the league overstepped their bounds and they um they to me they really hurt the Saints because that put them a year behind the curve. Things change, players get
Mm-hmm.
old. Um, just a lot of stuff. So yes, the league doesn't always do great things.
Right.
it just doesn't. They handle everything, and it's. But now we're under such a microscope because everybody's got a computer, everybody's got a
Mm-hmm.
phone, everybody can voice their opinion. Um,
Absolutely.
and I get it, man. You got an opinion, and that's really cool and everything. And a lot of times we kind of stay out of all that. I mean, I get it, man. We're the show. We talk about some sports betting, some sports, try to give you some edges on games coming up, what we can do, how we can manage our bankroll, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that being said, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that I don't. I mean, there's a lot of things that should have happened differently, and I think there should be some there should be more paying attention to the referees than I don't know how or what, but just some bad
Yeah.
calls and
Let's
yeah, and
fix
there's a
that
lot of
part of it.
stuff. Yeah, there's a lot. There's just many things that I mean, we obviously can make all kind of suggestions, and but that being said, hopefully, good luck to all the coaches that moved around. Maybe Salas will
Yeah.
turn around the Titans. I don't, maybe, like I said, um,
Yeah.
I kind of
We'll
not
s-
big. We'll see. That's all we can do is say
yeah, all we can
we'll
do is see. Yeah,
we'll
because you
see.
got Clint Kubiak is now the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, and you could probably bet everything in your wallet that they're going to draft Mendoza.
Yeah, yeah, problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's probably a very good. It's probably a
Now
very good.
after they get Mendoza, then they need to go into the interior, get an offensive line that can protect Mendoza and make some lanes for Gentry,
Right.
and then you got to get your a number one receiver. But I think if they build through the draft, they could get their interior work done in the draft and with some good, very, very good pro players. But they're gonna have to rebuild from the ground. I think they gotta rebuild from the ground up.
I do. I'm stepping out of the camera for 1 second. So I
No,
agree
you're
with you
fine.
100. Yeah, 120%. I think the Raiders. I mean, they've fallen from grace. I mean, they've become very irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think, other than capturing bad publicity, I think they they got to find a coach, stick with them, find a quarterback that
Mm-hmm.
you think you can. That goes back to that Gino. I mean, they tried. I mean, a lot of these
Yeah.
guys are getting a lot of money, not producing, um, and then they're
Yeah.
getting up off them. I mean, the Saints with Carr, and like I said, when we go back to Carr, I really thought he was gonna. I thought, like, maybe he can, and sure
Fresh
enough, I was
start.
wrong.
Sean
Yeah,
Payton.
yeah,
Maybe we
yeah,
could get something going, right? Well,
yeah, but
he had left before Carr
yes,
got there, but at the same time, I figured, all we needed was a good quality quarterback.
yeah, and just these teams make
But
these multi-million-dollar decisions, hundreds of million-dollar decisions, and
mm-hmm.
a lot of times they get it wrong. You know what I mean? And that's definitely it just kind of is what it is. But let's get into Super Bowl.
All
Let's get
right.
into the Super Bowl. We have New England Patriots, Saint Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and this is my opinion, and you tell me what you think. I think New England has a good team. They made it to the Super Bowl. I think they have a good team. I think the better team is Seattle. I think Seattle's better. Defensively, I think it's just a better team all the way around. Some people may disagree with me. I'm sure Pats fans are just like, oh, you're just hating on the Pats because you're a Bills fan. And that may be true. Maybe there's a slight in there. I can't say, I can't, you
Just
try to be, yeah,
that much.
maybe that much,
That
maybe that much.
much.
Anyway, I think Drake May is, I think that's, I mean, I think, like I said, they're moving in the right direction. I just think
Yeah.
come Sunday, I think that defense is going to swarm all over him. Um, and I think it's going to be a very one-sided, one side. Now, I hate to go like that because I remember a couple years ago when Cam Newton was in the Super Bowl, and they said Cam was going to destroy Denver, and just. But one thing I will say is that year that they said Cam was going to be whatever, and I'm a Cam fan, always have been. I like the big guy, um, but they forgot to talk about the number one defense, which was the Denver Broncos. When Ware was
Right.
there, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they had the great coordinator. Um, uh, 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 it was a coach for Dallas and for the Bills.
Uh
Phillips, when they had Phillips, great
Wade
defensive.
Phillips.
Wade Phillips, great defensive coordinator. Great
Yeah.
defensive coordinator. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now now you got this number one defense, two number one defense in the league. And I just think they're going to dominate. And I think you're going to see, I mean, the spread's 4.5. Um, I think on Thursday, you can watch it and see. I think that's when the general public's going to go heavy, and don't be
Mm-hmm.
surprised if the spread goes more. Some people are saying the spread's going to go 7.5. Um, the over's 45.5. I mean, I definitely think that New England can definitely put 17, 20 points on the Chargers. I mean, on Seattle. I just think any mistake made. Um, they're going to capitalize on. It's going to be, like I said, they can't make any mistakes. There can't be any mistakes on New England's deal. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Darnold could have one of his days, and I said, well, if you look at the way they're made, like I said, last game that he played in, he had all them yards. We were both like, holy cow, he threw for. That's not the norm. They
No.
play a really, really. I don't want you to say this is going to come out wrong, but they play a very boring football. I mean,
Yeah,
you
they
know what I'm
do.
saying? It's not
They're
high.
gonna they're
It's
gonna run
not.
it down your throat. They're
They'll
gonna
run it down your throat. They're
they're
going
gonna
to.
get the passes. He's gonna hit the open man, which is not necessarily always over the top. We're
Right.
gonna be some dink and dunks in there, and we're gonna run this football. We're gonna establish this run. Now, once the run's established, and once this offense is clicking, everybody got their touches. Now we're gonna implement those play action passes and those throws down the field. Once we get that defense loose. Now, on the Seattle side, I think one of the things Seattle's going to do is they're going to wait until they get to the line, and then that's when they're going to motion, and that's when the defense is going to shift. I don't
Yes.
think that they want to give them a I don't think they want to let Drake May know what's going on when he walks up to the line, and he's reading what they got going on. I think once he gets under center, that's when the defense shifts, throws him off guard, and when you're thrown off guard from what you just saw before you hike the ball, 9 times out of 10 you're going to run with that play or your backup play, and then that's when that linebacker or that safety bites up and gets that interception, or someone is open to get a sack, or they blitz one of the
So,
safeties.
so when the Bills beat them late in the season, um, that's exactly what they did. They never showed them. They never showed them the same thing twice. It was a constant. It was just a constant rotating, and it
Right.
proved to be effective. Now you take that and you add it with steroids as far as like the defense power, and it could be very. it could be very ugly. Like I said, New England's a good team. I'm not taking it away from them.
Mm-mm.
And I'm gonna tell you what's funny is you watch Vegas, like we watch Vegas all the time. Watch. What are they doing? So Sam Drake May's average yards is 246.
Mm.
You can get him. You could get him at 221 minus 113. So that's Vegas letting you know that they
Mm-hmm.
don't believe he's going to hit his mark. So that's
Right.
obviously because if you put him at his average, 246, and you say, well, I think he's going to throw for 240, you can get it at plus 142. Vegas don't give
Mm-hmm.
them kind of numbers if they're thinking that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Usually a guy's average, okay, a guy's average, if you put usually you put the number in, they don't give you a lot of action at where his average is. They're giving you a lot of action. Now, Sam Darnold, his average is, and that's the same thing with Sam Darnold. His average is 230, but they also know that, hey, this could be 156 a yard Sam Darnold because
Right.
establish a run, just like everything you said, establish a run. So there's some action there. All right, there's some action on that. And
Mm-hmm.
then let's do rush yards. Okay. So, no, that's receptions. Let me see. Kenneth Walker, he averages 63. You can get him at 60. See, here, that's what I'm saying. So at his average, he's minus 225, no action. So, like I said, it's something
Yeah.
to pay attention to on the passing yards. Um,
Right.
at 74 yards, he gets 110.
Mm-hmm.
Stevenson, um, his average is 46. So there's going to be, like I said, there's some action on some. I like the rush. I like on the rushing yards. I like. I keep hitting the damn. I like Kenneth Walker. I do. I like Kenneth
Oh
Walker
yeah.
plus 70 yards. I like him plus 70 yards. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm saying that's, I mean, you're going to have to get him at plus 60. And that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be hard. Now here's another one they got Drake May. He averages 29 yards.
Mm.
And he may be a runner come Sunday. So
Yeah.
that's not,
Yeah. He's gonna
but
have to escape out of that pocket.
he's going to have to escape out of the pocket. So there will be, again, there's action there. Um, The over's 45. I like the over. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now here's another one that I do like. All right. First half under 22 and a half. I kind of like that because
Yeah.
I kind of see it being um, slow go, as they say. I can see it
Uh-huh.
being a real physical first half. I like the
Right.
under
Because
22 and a half.
right. And the
Yeah.
first quarter, they got to get the jitters out.
Yes.
Because it's a spectacle. It's a grand show, and a lot of these players they've been on some big stages, but this is the stage. So it's overwhelming. So you got to
Yes.
get all the jitters and stuff out. So that first quarter is it's gonna go slow, and then once everything settles down and people get their rhythm, then we're gonna get a game.
Now the first quarter you can get Seattle minus five minus point 0.5, and you can get the total over 7.5, which
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was 7-0 at the half or at
Right.
the first quarter or 0-0. I'm not really expecting a huge, now unless there's some mistakes, now unless there's just a big mistake, a fumble. I could see the first quarter being 0-0. So I do like the under there.
Yeah.
And then you can get into, I mean, the Super Bowl's got so many. The coin toss, who's receiving the ball first, who's punting the ball first. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many
Is
to,
Rashid
um,
is Rashid gonna get a return first, or is he gonna get a return in the first quarter or something like that?
right, right, over 6.5. It says, here's one receiving specials, total players with receptions. And it says over 6.5 for New England, pays 180. Over, yeah, it pay is minus 180. Under is, that's a receiving specials. That's not a bad one either. Like I said, you had like I said, the basic ones, the rush we talked about. I like Seattle. Um, I like the under for the game. For I mean, but as far as all the other, there's a lot of little special parlays in here that you can make. I mean, there's all kind of five, six parlays that are doable in there if you want to play around with some. And then on some of your uh, spots like this one, you actually can go in and get your make your own square. You could actually buy your own square and go, well, I
Yeah.
want my square to be 0 7, or I want it to be 7 7. Um,
Ah,
yeah, it's kind of neat, kind of neat. And
that's
there's a lot.
kind
I
of
mean,
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
digital.
yeah,
Yeah, digital squares. That's pretty cool. So you
yeah.
can buy your square and you can put your your numbers in on what you want, what the numbers you think are going to be at the end of said excuse me, at the end of said quarter.
Yeah, well, so like you could set it at 0 0. So if it's 10 10 10, you win.
Yeah,
If it's
when yeah,
7 7,
0-0.
yeah. So you could do your own. You can make your own squares. And this one is called DK Squares Any Quarter. I'm sure they all have
Okay.
it. I'm just on one side. I'm sure Caesars, all the other MGM has it.
Mm-hmm.
But I uh, I definitely like I said, the ones we went over. And I think I think Sam Darnold. It's pretty crazy. And look at Cooper Cup, or he's the wide receiver. I mean, they
Yeah.
told him they did. I mean, they were pretty much telling him to go home, retire, and now he's playing in the Super Bowl. Because if you watch at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
game, they all were looking for him to talk to him when
Yeah.
Seattle beat them, because they have the players. Like I said, the
Yeah.
players have so much respect for each other. All that other craziness with that's the GM and the organization. But the
Yeah.
players have a bond, and you can see that the players have. They don't. That's not. They don't. It's a business, and they know it's a business, and they know
Mm-hmm.
there's a shitty part of the business. You know what I mean? And
Right.
there's and they're not always right. They're not
Right.
always right, and it is. I mean, it's been proven time and time again of the mistakes that people have made. In high positions in the NFL, it was like, oh, my bad. I thought maybe, it's like, um, but I think we're in for a really good game. I think New England's going to hang in there. I don't think Seattle's
Yeah.
coming in first quarter and breaking their neck. I just think over the course of the game, you will see Seattle just pull away, just
Mm-hmm.
kind of pull away, and it's going to be, what I mean. And I just think that I, Denver's defense was very good.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no doubt about that. In New England, was it 10-7?
Yeah.
That had 10-7, so that was a very low scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
And Denver has a great defense, but the Seattle defense is even better than that. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
even
Right.
they got some corners in there and a couple middle linebackers, and that rush is brutal. I mean, provided there's no injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going with Seattle. I'm going with the stats. I'm going with Seattle -4.5. I like the under. Pay attention to some live betting because there's going to be action, and you know this.
Mm-hmm.
There's always action on the live, and just like you put together that parlay right before the game. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
right.
always,
But
like I
five
said,
minutes before the game, I put the parlay together and it hit.
yeah, there you go. And
So
like
so
we
so
talked
so you
about,
never know. Yeah.
the parlays are just for fun. I know I'm not telling you to bet the house on them. I understand you can go
Right.
to all these different sports networks and they'll tell you that's a sucker bet. You're just trying to have fun. You're trying to have a little bit of
Yeah.
skin on the game. It's like buying a square. You're just giving you something to watch the game. I mean, so I understand
Yeah.
that. That's not a big deal. But there is money to be made. Like I said, I'm definitely on Seattle. I really think they're going to come to play. And like I said, I think
Mm-hmm.
I think New England. New England had a soft schedule, but they beat some teams in the playoffs. So I can't really, what I mean, they, like I said, and
Right.
could it have been different in Denver if their quarterback was probably, what I mean. But hey, you got to play, you got to run with your brung, right? And what they say in racing,
Right.
you got to run with
Mm-hmm.
your brung. I don't want to hear about what you got at your house. Um,
Right.
so I think we're in for a really good Super Bowl. Don't really care about the halftime. Somebody was asking me about the halftime show. I was like, I
Like,
don't know. I don't. I was like, yeah, I guess. I mean, like I
that's
said, people
yeah.
get so into, well,
Yeah, they
what
wrapped
they.
up into all of that. And I'm like, look, when the halftime show comes on, I go outside and stretch my legs or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not
Now
saying. I
I'll
mean,
catch
yeah,
some of it depending on who the artist is. I'll catch some of it. I'm not gonna watch the
yeah.
whole thing.
Whole thing.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
catch
I mean,
some of
it's
it to have some talking points. But for the most part, I'm not even concerned about the halftime show. It's really about the game for me.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's kind of yeah, that's kind of what it is. So, what is it an hour long? Is it an hour intermission? Or is it like four? It's a pretty long intermission halftime at the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's normally it's pretty long because they get to do a few of their songs.
Yeah, and then they got all the commercials. That's another thing. They're
Yeah,
selling
then we got the
commercials.
commercials,
That's
and
really what
that's
it's
when
about. Yeah.
yeah, because the halftime show is I don't know how much it is now, but commercials here locally during the
So
halftime show were $1 million for 30 seconds, and this
yeah, and
is
that's
back in the early 2000s, like
yeah, yeah,
2007, 8, 9, and $1 million for 30 seconds during the
yeah.
Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah, too rich for our book. But hey, man, we'll have all the
Locally,
stats. Yeah, we'll have all the stats for you next week. I want to thank
yeah,
everyone for tuning in. Stay warm. My guy Big Lou. I want to thank everyone at KM Radio who makes this possible. Playing it for us, and Eli, buddy, you're the man. All right, guys, we're gonna catch you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Tony G, Big Lou, biggest station in the land, KM Radio, where we go ham.
hell.